Everywhere you turn, crime and more crime. White collar crime, blue collar crime, no collar crime. We running out of time. On the dot, your salary cut. 9 o'clock in the day, no way to get paid. Traffic on the highway, traffic on the highway. Bills and more bills. Bills and more bills. $3 trillion spent, nothing to show. That's how it go in a land named Trinidad. Check this. Nothing. Public health fail, public works fail, local government fail, central government fail. 57 years, tears. 57 years, praise. No bread in the kitchen, no gas in the car, no water in the pipe. Everybody by the bar, all in the pavement, all in your shoe, all in your wallet. There's only holes for you.
Everything out of control. Gunman and she hold it like that.
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Good evening to all of the regulars, to all of the live videos. Good evening to all of the normal followers and viewers of Plain Talk. Good evening to everyone all around the world. Good evening to all of our supporters. A very special good evening to our detractors who are here to have their minds broadened. This is a special episode of Plain Talk. It's not just a live video, it's running in the Plain Talk slot because last week, Wednesday, we did a Plain Talk where we had guests from the audience, from the listening audience, call in. And it was very widely well received. And tonight, we promised that we would do it again. So tonight we're doing this. Satish Ramsaran, head of PEP Media, and the crew are in the background making sure that every conceivable page, group, thread, YouTube, anything that is possible for you to see me on tonight is available to you, that the stream and the audio is at the highest, and I would like to thank Satish Ramsaran and PEP Media for all the good work they do. They work extremely hard, and it is PEP Media that has put the Progressive Empowerment Party head and shoulders above all other political parties for this show and Pep Talks in the morning. Straight out of quarantine and lockdown, the Progressive Empowerment Party was digital online with all of its shows, and that's amazing, amazing work. I was there, I watched them work around the clock to get it ready, to be ready to launch the first shows 48 hours after the announcement, and we've been with you almost every day and every night since, and I think that is remarkable, remarkable work. Before we get into the actual show, and there's a big question I would like to ask. In fact, I'm going to ask the big question now, because when you're calling in I'd like you, besides telling me where in the world you're calling from, you could be calling from Tabakit, you could be calling from Timbuktu. Just say I'm calling from. You never have to give your name. You never have to read your phone number. Nobody needs to know who I'm speaking to. But say where you're calling from. Right? The big question tonight, and I want you to think about it. Now, thinking requires the use of the organ between your two ears. It's not just there to keep them from fighting. It's called your brain, and its job is to think. Crunch data, arrive at a conclusion. Our big question is this. Should we keep our borders completely closed, lock it down, nail it shut, and open back up our full economy? All our bars, all our restaurants, open back up our country internally, all our beaches, all our rivers. Let Trinbagonians go back to living normal lives. Leave coronavirus outside. Leave it outside. Sanitize what comes in. If we could sanitize the breadfruit that we buy in the market when we take it to drop for our parents, the people on the port could sanitize containers of shipments coming in. So sanitize. Now, I also want to be able to say this. This is not going to be part of the big question, but this is my personal view. That you should allow people to travel out of Trinidad and Tobago if they want to travel out of Trinidad and Tobago. And if they want to come back, or anybody who wants to come back from now, should be allowed to come back under two non-negotiable conditions. One, you are quarantined for the full 14 days. And two, you pay the cost of the quarantine. So Colin, sticky fingers Dwen that he is, doesn't have to go and raid the Heritage and Stabilization Fund to buy himself an exports car and pretend that it is because you coming back. Right? The big question tonight is this. Should we leave the ports and the seaports and the airports closed? Should we actually pay for the macaroni and the corned beef that the Coast Guard needs to get to work? Could we pass a hat and collect some money? Because even though they took $6 billion from the Heritage and Stabilization Fund, the diesel the Coast Guard need to operate costs $6 billion and $1, and we can't afford it. So if we could pass the hat, Trinidad and Tobago, all of us chip up to buy diesel for the boats and put the Coast Guard out in the sea to guard the coast, so that nobody, you see, if a pirogue full of Venezuelans enter in our waters, the Coast Guard's job should be with a hook and a rope, drag their ass back to Venezuela. I do not know how to say that in Spanish, but that should be the Coast Guard's instruction from the Ministry of National Security, because there's a pandemic out there, or so we're told. Terence D'Alsing, in his best convent girl accent, keeps warning the country about the second wave. They send all their PNM paid for talking heads out there talking about the second wave. And every time somebody dead in the world, see, look the wave there. I want to tell you what the wave is. The wave is the incompetence of this government. All of the deaths that happened in Trinidad and Tobago from coronavirus were preventable, because we had no COVID-19, no coronavirus, January 31st, 2020, when we had the president proclaim a health emergency, state of emergency. That day, the airports should have been closed. That day, the seaports should have been closed. So, the big question tonight, I will come back into the story. The big question tonight is, should we keep all our borders closed and open back our full country, remove the dictatorial powers from the police and from the government, stop the COVID-19 nonsense, and let our people go back to living lives as normal? That's the big question. Before I open up the phone line, 682-2110, you can call me or you can WhatsApp me your question, and I will read your question and answer it to the best of my ability, or you could call me and put me on the spot, because Philip Edward Alexander, the political leader of the Progressive Empowerment Party, has no fear of conversation or disagreement like the other political leaders. On the People's National Movement social media walls, you can't write on them, you know. So only admins can write on them. You can't find the UNC pages because all the UNC pages are named things like kick out the PNM and slam down Rowley and all kind of other misdirection. UNC don't have actual pages of their own, but that's their way of playing hide in plain sight. But the PNM, you can't write on their walls. In my Facebook, my social media, my number like dynamite paper, it's all over the place. But everybody knows where my Facebook is. And you don't have to be a friend. You don't have to be connected. You don't have to have any hoops to jump through to come on my wall, read everything that's being written, and have a conversation there too. Because I have to remember, this is not a normal audience, so I need to be very gentle with everybody here. The big story, right? I have been told that Keith Rowley has people all over the world writing Al Jazeera, BBC, Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, and everybody begging for Rowley to get a little FaceTime so he could take credit for Trinidad's 18 deaths and 117 cases. And here I tell you, there's a deal I'm willing to make with Kitos. You can't take credit for the peas and don't take credit for the rice. Whatever in the pot, the whole pot, now yours. The pilau is yours. If you're taking credit for the quality of the peas, the rice is your responsibility too. So if you want to go out there, Keith, with your people, begging MSNBC, Fox, Al Jazeera, BBC, anybody that will stop and listen to you, people don't start calling in yet. I did not open the phone lines yet. I'm going to open it shortly, and I apologize. I just rejected a call. Stand by to call. All of those places, Keith Rowley, and to the people writing these media houses internationally for Keith Rowley, I am saying to you, I am going to be writing them too. And if my Prime Minister is responsible for the low deaths in coronavirus, no problem. He's responsible for the high murder rate. And at the same time, you're asking him, how do you account for just 8 people dying? Let him talk. Then ask him, how do you account for your country having one of the highest murder rates in the world? 500 plus of your citizens are murdered every year. Yesterday, they found 4 bodies, brutally assassinated, their bodies thrown aside. How do you also account for that? Because if you can do such a good job harnessing the sun, why can't you harness the Ministry of National Security? Why can't you harness your Coast Guard and actually get them to guard the coast? Because our Coast Guard park up in the north and the Venezuelans walking on water like Christ in the south. And our helicopters that are supposed to give aerial support have no parts, have no fuel, and we fire the pilots. So if you, sir, want to take credit, sir, for managing coronavirus, why aren't you also taking credit for the condition of your country? 750,000 people live below the poverty line in what was the 3rd wealthiest nation in the Western world. You lost your sugar industry, you lost your cocoa industry, you lost your petrochemical industry. Every major multinational that was based in Trinidad and Tobago has shut down and left. Many before the coronavirus, the rest now. If we give you praise for keeping coronavirus down to 8, because all the other Caribbean islands kept, some of them kept to 0. But let's pretend that your handling in Trinidad spread across the waters and also helped those countries. No problem. I want to give you all that credit. Explain how on your watch the illegal guns in the country jumped from 37,000 in 2017 when you said it was 37,000 to 42,000 in 2020. In 3 years. In 3 years. That much more illegal guns found its way into your country. Keith Christopher Rowley, as Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, how do you justify all those people dying, murdered every year? How do you justify billions of dollars being found all over the world, cocaine coming from your tiny dot of an island that a security, I don't want to say a security guard firm could secure because you might give Aboud the contract. So one guy, it was Kamala fault too. So if you're being sarcastic, if I got a chance to talk to Kamala, I'll tell her, why did you fire Gary Griffith, who was doing such a good job securing this nation, in a tantrum over Anand Ramlogan? So let me not go down the Kamala road, because all you don't want to wake me up on that. The PNM and the UNC is two sides of the same corrosive cancer that have destroyed this country, metastasized to the bone. So let me not pretend that little UNC stunt blame Kamala. It's Kamala's fault. That's a UNC stunt to pretend that it's wrongly pointing blame on Kamala, like Kamala really had no blame to get. But Kamala, tell them how much money you give to all them terrorist organizations through live sport. Not you, Anil, your man of business, who back on TV as your spokesperson. But we're not dealing with Kamala. Don't wake me up to that now. Let me just focus on Rowley, because brother, I want to tell you, I will follow you wherever you go. If you're on MSNBC, I come in there and I call in them and I telling them that is also the man responsible for 520 people dead this year, 67 this month, murders. You can't take credit for the peas and don't take credit for the rice. 682-2110, this entire show is dedicated to you. I am not taking blocked number calls, because if you do not show your number, you could try to get away with nonsense. And I want to tell you this, I take in all calls except block numbers, because those who call to break the law got to answer. Gary's a fella, he like to come and find people. He does the game, and I don't get him wrong. So I tell you, if you call and you break the law, I forward it straight to the commissioner of police. I ain't getting between you and that. That's your dance. And you know that, so don't do it. Anything else? This is all about me and the Progressive Empowerment Party and Trinidad and Tobago and what we're doing, where we're going. Feel free to call in 682-2110. You could WhatsApp on that same number and ask me any questions. We have a couple of WhatsApps. Somebody asked, what conditioner you're using in your hair? It is looking so nice there. And I'm just joking, I didn't get that. Question 1. 21 billion for COVID relief, 934 million used. What happened to the 20 billion difference? 2. When will the bars be open? Now, if I had my way, the bars would be open tonight, because the government has said that they've handled coronavirus. It's gone. It's locked. It's over. We've gotten rid of it. There's a second wave, home by Terrence Mammy, and it's waiting there to surprise us. Like, hey, don't forget about me. But the reality is, the same government that, oh, we're gonna go. Stick a pin. Hello, good evening, you're live.
Hello, good evening, good evening. I'm from Socio-political.
Welcome.
Thank you. I just wanted to find out all the nonsense and what went on in the country for almost years. I just want to find the view. And I mean, it could be hard. It could be a hard task. But if you, well, I'll listen to you. I know you're bright enough, but I know it'll be a hard task. But if you're able to try to at least fix all these duties or what in the country for much years.
Indeed, and if you want to talk about anything specific, you could ask me now, or you could WhatsApp it, and we could talk about those issues one by one. Because all you're entitled to ask, and don't feel how to ask. Because when we answer here, we put the other parties on the spot, and they come out trying to answer too, and that could only be a good thing.
No problem. I like to listen to your live, so I will listen to your live. I could always on WhatsApp here.
Thank you, my brother. Pleasure talking to you. That was a nice first call to get. If we could get all the calls, so. But there are people outside there, I want to try him, Somebody say, I will vote for you, I want change. That's not enough. You must want change for the better. And there are a lot of people outside there talking change. But only the Progressive Empowerment Party talking institutional change issue by issue. And we are telling you how we get to be where we are right now and how we need to fix it. And not only that, we've started a show called Plain Talk, and we've gone out and found the best in the world at some of the things, or the best in the country. And we went and found members of parliament and former ministers to come and answer questions. to explain to you. I need to create a space where I could type some of the things people are asking, because I forgot in all of my organization, I have no staff, you know, it's me alone here. So in all of my organization, I forget my book and my pen. People talking about the bicycle project. I get the bicycle project early. I get it early. And what to tell you, boy? What to tell you? We have no system of accountability. And I want you to remind me, that's what I was talking about when we come back after this call. Hello, good evening, you're live.
Hi, good evening, Philip.
Hi, good evening.
I'm calling, I guess, to find out what is the PEP doing as far as helping support the nationals that are stuck outside of the borders at the present moment. I am in one of the groups that had submitted exemptions to try and come home. We were actually fortunate enough to form a second group, but even though we're submitting these exemptions, we're not getting any feedback from the Minister of National Security whatsoever. And as far as information is being passed on to me, people in these groups that are asking for exemptions are struggling to find food on a daily basis, pretty much may end up homeless. And the government just keeps, saying hunker down. But hunker down where? Out on the streets in the U.S.? We feel abandoned. Now we see that they are letting cruise ship workers come home, which is great. But at the same speed, they were on a cruise ship being housed and fed. What about those who came up here for medical purposes or whatever the reasons, who tried to get to the airports, who couldn't get on flights?
Hello? I'm seeing that I still have the call, but I'm not hearing you. You hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
You dropped a little bit there. When you said you couldn't get on flights, it went silent.
Yeah, there are a number of people who tried to get out before the borders were closed, but I mean, there were only a certain amount of flights that were facilitated, so it wasn't like they could have handled everybody. So there are nationals who are seeking to get home. They're running out of money. The government has turned a blind eye. They keep saying, go to the consulate. The consulate isn't helping. The embassies aren't helping.
Ma'am, I want to ask you a question, right? I want to ask you a couple of questions, because we were instrumental in getting the cruise ship people home. Fox News took the interview from my show, Devant Maraj and I, with Sterling Howell, and used it on their Fox show, and it embarrassed the government. Devant had organized attorneys the following morning and got redress. I want to ask you, do you mind sending me a WhatsApp with all of your information? Let me see what we could get done for you. And I know that it's just you and there are a lot of other people, but until we could force the government to explain exactly what are the exemption rules. Because if you could find somebody with cancer somewhere that you could pick up and bring home with you, apparently that worked for Derek Chin. And
right.
You understand what I'm saying? I'm being very sarcastic and cynical about it, because while I feel sorry for the lady and her cancer, it shouldn't be find a sick person to come home. It should be that there are exemption rules, and these are the exemption rules. Would you gladly go into quarantine if you come back home for 14 days?
Of course. Everybody, like I said, there's a group that was...
The call drop again. I mean, we still have the call, but the audio dropped. I don't know if you're hearing me, ma'am, but the audio has dropped.
I'm hearing you.
I hear you now. You said there was a group and then your audio dropped.
Yeah, there's a group on Facebook. It's called Trini's Trying to Get Home.
Send me the link to everything and WhatsApp me or private message me on Facebook, and let's get involved. Let's see if we can get to work on this. And today's Monday, but if you still have no redress, later on this week we will bring you on the show as a guest to talk on behalf of everybody else. So start gathering information, because it seems that the best way to get people home is to embarrass this government. So I will gladly do that for you.
Okay, thank you so much.
All righty, bye-bye.
All right, bye.
It is stupid and it is ridiculous that we don't know tonight what are the exemption rules. Now, Roger Chin will get vexed with me for saying this. Roger, I know Derek is your brother, and you love your brother, and you want your family to be taken care of. But this lady have family too, and other people outside there have family too. And our rules that run Trinidad and Tobago should be the same across the board. I don't need to have to be able to afford a private jet and go jetting to the Bahamas to pick up a sick person. They say, look, I told the people on the cruise ship, let them drop all in lifeboats down by Cedros, because if the Coast Guard picking up the Venezuelans, they can pick all up too. Hey, good night. I really enjoy your shows. I would love to see change in our country, change for the better, change for a brighter future for my kids. I admire your stand and really like your point of view. I would really like to hear your ideas for our country through ideas for energy sector, diversification, national security, etc. Thanks again. Because of your logical thinking, citizens have a voice. People can be so cute, huh? Good night, Philip. We have corrupted persons in Trinidad who got contracts from the government and are building huge buildings in Canada. My question is, can we get the Canadian government to investigate and freeze those people's assets? Yes. We are part of the same Commonwealth. The laws apply, and we can sue those people in Canada. Yeah? Moving forward. You got my vote. Thank you very much. So far as you and me, we have 2. Good night to you, Sawyer Watch Party. What will you put in place for the nation if a third political party is elected to government with the other parties as opposition and a minority in parliament? Not sure what you're saying. Good night to you, Sawyer Watch Party. What will you put in place for the nation if a third political party is elected to government with the other parties as opposition and a minority in parliament? So if we are the government, what will we put in place? A lot. We have policies that, and if we want to go down the path, just talking policies right now, that'll take up the rest of the show. So we could do that. Stand by. Let me read the rest. Well done, brother. Excellent show. Keep up the good job. Mr. Alexander, you're preaching exactly what's going on in Trinidad and Tobago. You'd make a brilliant prime minister, but I'm afraid that the PNM government and their followers are so tightly organized. When time for voting, no matter if the PNMites eat Gobar, PEP will get a lot of the UNC voters. Because of this division, the PNM can go back in power. What can we do to stop the division and come as one body? I want to tell you this. 32% of the population are considered the PNM vote. 32%. Half the population of Trinidad and Tobago do not vote at all. And it is them we have to mobilize to come out. PNM's 32%, they could keep that. We only need 33% out of 100% to beat them. We could do that. Hello, good evening, you're live.
Yes, Mr. Brian Isaac here.
Hi, Brian. Well, nobody really giving the name. All we want to know is where you're located. Or where you're
I'm located in St. Joseph.
Right. How can I help you, sir?
You can help me by, I rented in St. Joseph, 6 away from different apartments, apply for the 3 months relief grant, and none of us have never gotten not a word. We went to the housing, and he told me the ministry had to deal with that. What I am saying is, what the government should have done is have people going to, when these forms come in, have people investigating to see if this is truth, or if these people really renting and the position that they're in, so that the government can deal with it. Nobody haven't gotten a word about these rentals. Nobody.
My friend, I want to tell you something. What the government is doing is breaking the law. But we live in a country where the government could be the biggest bandit side in the country. They could break the law with impunity because Eric Williams, the original bandit, set it up that way. We have no real organizations of state. We have people who dress up in big uniforms and gongs and all kind of crap to walk around town and pose for CNC3 and TV6 that have no idea what is their job or their responsibility to the citizenry. That is why the Progressive Empowerment Party says we need to undo and redo Trinidad and Tobago, and we want to go back to August 31st, 1962 and restart from there. We need to make sure that there are things in place to protect people like yourself from a lying, stinking, stealing government who would go on TV and promise you all rental relief and other kind of grants and use that to steal the money and not give you all the relief you're entitled to. Can we raise the funds to hire lawyers to get you before a court seeking judicial review? At some point, if we don't get a commission of inquiry into all that took place under the guise of COVID-19 management, we may have to do that. And I want you to send me a message. I saw something from you. I want you to send me more information, your name, your contact information. And I want to see if we can begin a class action lawsuit around you, because every other civilized first world developed nation, when they said that we are taking responsibility for our people, they did just that. That if you have a rental receipt, a lease, or something to say that I'm renting from somebody, the government would contact that person directly and cover your rent. Here?
Yes.
Here, no such luck. Dog better than you in Trinidad and Tobago unless you have a party card. Send me all the information, my brother. This ain't done. We will work on this.
Okay.
Take care. People vex, PNM. People vex. People vex. And I hope they vex enough to see through all your stunting, all your stupidness. Every time I see Stuart Young, I say, look, a liar. The Aruban government say he lie. The ambassador of the United States of America say he lie. He's still in government. The man have no shame. That whole Young family have no shame, because anybody else would have stepped down already in shame. But the Young family, I mean, God, you the Minister of National Security, your stepdaughter, they say she partied in Miami. She was supposed to surrender her passport. Maybe she traveling on a diplomatic passport. I don't know. Good night. Now, the desalination plant was built in Point Fortin. The two main, I didn't know that. The two main WASA plants that supplied Point Fortin is now supplying elsewhere with water. The desalination plant is now supplying Point Fortin, but the desal water is highly corrosive, and Point only have one new housing area. All the rest is old house with iron water pipe and walls. So everybody is facing house damage. Was a proper case study done for this desal plant, or a secondary water treatment plant needs to be built? Trinidad does not need to be desalinating. Every desalination plant in Trinidad and Tobago is a criminal enterprise, and it is a criminal co-conspiracy with government and business people to foist desalination on a country that gets 100,000 times the water it needs as rain. The Diego Martin River alone could provide enough water for the entire country. I showed Trinidadians this week. I did a video outside Fatima College, standing on a bridge 47 feet wide, 40 feet long, 13 feet deep, that the space that that bridge was holding could hold 168,000 gallons of water just there. Just there. The Maraval River could hold the Maraval Reservoir 100,000 times. So they're playing smart with foolishness, stunting for you, lying to you. It's called shock and awe, shock doctrine. They create a problem and then spend billions to solve it. And we, like fools, because we walking around saying, all your teeth, all your teeth, all your teeth, PRM and UNC. Like two dogs barking at each other through a gate. Nobody talking about what's the truth. If you come on some of the walls and see when we raise the issues and the functional way back from where we are, and watch the sycophants and the trolls, how they come to argue. But I don't like how you're here looking tonight. Have nothing to do with the point. Have nothing to do with what we're discussing. And I'm supposed to stop, take a moment to talk to you and your 12 friends who come to agree with you to talk about here. Trinidadians have led themselves astray for the most part. Plenty of people wanted to decide that I'm going to be racist because mommy and granny and papi was racist. And if Tanti tell me that for all these years your grandpa wearing that one shoe with a hole, you gotta wear a shoe with a hole because that's how we just do it in this family. We're stupid and we're inane. And we don't know how to improve. And say, Grandma, maybe papi was wrong. Maybe he was wrong. Maybe we could do better. Trinidad and Tobago not supposed to have a water problem. Trinidad and Tobago supposed to have a $400 billion a year GDP. Our GDP is 22. We're supposed to have a population of about 10 million people. We have 1.4 million people. We own a pitch lake. We're supposed to have the best roads in the world. Trinidad should be the showcase for lake asphalt. It's not. Trinidad is a case study of what government banditry does to a people distracted by race. A very good friend of mine, Gary Aboud. Papi, you're cooking tonight. Gary Coleman, a man. Let them hear your voice. They like to hear your voice. Gary Aboud, a man I have nothing but respect for. Good night. Pleased to be a part of the live. I would like to know how your party plans to keep transparency with government spending to the nation. Also would like to know how if you will increase funding for campaigns. This doesn't have to be said out loud, but I only know your party exists because of a random Facebook post. Similarly with NNP, only found out about them at my polling station. Much too late in my opinion. Okay, we're 3 years old. I thank you that you find me because we work overtime on social media. The Guardian, the Newsday, the Express, TV6 and CNC3 have decided that I am too good looking for regular media, so that they will isolate me to save the people from swooning. So we are only on social media, but that's okay. We're managing pretty much. We did 3 videos this week 3 videos. 1, 2, 3. In total, 28 minutes between the 3 of them that have crossed 1 million views. For CNC3 to get that, one of the hosts have to strip naked. We have just now, I try to coordinate this. Sorry, I can't take all the calls one time. Gary Aboud, good evening. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hi, Philip. Great respect to you and to your audience. Can you hear me clearly?
Very clearly. You talk your talk, my friend.
The WASA problem is much deeper and much greater. At great personal risk, I want to say that I am aware that there is a minister who has engineered the Desalcott transaction and when it was done, and I'm speaking as a very clear matter at risk and a fact, that he was told by the principal owner that he would be paid $20,000 a month for the rest of his life. This is what, and I have never minced my words, and I have nothing to benefit for this. And at great personal risk, the public must know that what is happening is that the government is putting the taxpayer and the treasury at great expense so that individual ministers can get kickbacks. He doesn't belong to this government, he belongs to the last government. And when the government got back into power under a different prime minister, he is the one who initiated 2 additional
Gary, we lost
the Regulated Industries Commission in their 2018 report, which examines the...
Sorry, we lost you for a minute.
Can I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead.
What I'm saying is
You were talking about the Regulated Industries Commission report. I want you to go back to that.
Yes, Regulated Industries Commission report, which I'm going to get you a copy. It's dated April 2018. It goes into great detail in examining the financial condition of WASA. And it is in that report that it states very clearly that WASA spent over $10 billion, $500 million per year average on the purchase of water from private facilities. Now, the private facilities take the seawater for free and just run it through a filter. So it's an extraordinarily profitable business. There's no operational cost. There's no stock in trade. There are only filters in a fully mechanized operation. So here we are creating billions and billions of dollars of wealth for the private sector. When Desalcott was established, by their own published admittance, it was at a cost of $210 million US. At that time, the currency wasn't what it is now, but even at today's value, that is 1.2 or 1.4 billion TT dollars. So in a matter of 20 years, the company has earned 7 times greater than its investment without any raw material costs, without any expenditure. They don't buy raw material, they only buy filters. So here we, the taxpayers, are wasting our money. Now, the Diego Martin River is a good example, but the Oropouche on the East Coast has much cleaner, clear water that's not affected by human waste. And that river by itself discharges more water into the ocean than Desalcott and the other 2 produce in a year.
Wow.
So we have and that water on the East Coast is continuously flowing, whereas the Diego Martin River, because of the abuse to the mountain range, it doesn't flow very rapidly in dry season. On the East Coast, there's a regular and consistent flow. So one has to ask, why are we not using the Green Fund to bail out WASA? The second, that according to the RIC report, WASA spends 5 times as much in recurrent expenditure, including and especially its labor force, than the average on the planet for the discharge of the volume of water. So WASA is a place that has been padded, and with great respect to all of the ministers who have managed WASA, and in recognition of all of the laws and the unions that protect WASA's workers, I'm all in favor of protection of workers. But if a company like Caroni is draining the national economy, and there's a rumor now that we are going to sell WASA to the Chinese, shouldn't we as a nation step up to the table of sustainable development and make a clear determination of what we must do to save our water. Water is the one thing that God gives us for free, that we should never privatize. And here we are draining the economy. The Minister of Finance stated 2 weeks ago that WASA is a drain on the economy of $200 million a month. When Caroni was losing $200 million a year, they privatized it and sold it into 1,000 pieces. Here we have WASA losing that on a monthly basis, and everybody wants to make excuses to blame the public, that the public isn't paying, without considering that the government at the highest level is draining the treasury by giving Desalcott and the other private facilities who are paying benefits to the ministers who signed off on those contracts. Additionally, Desalcott contract was renewed 16 months before it was expired. What would possibly
But Gary, that sounds like corruption.
This is not corruption. The country is being run by fraud. It's just like the fake oil and fake gas and fake everything. You have ministers in position that when they get it, in the first year or two, they're honest because they don't know the ropes. But every time it happens to us over the past 50 years, as soon as they become familiar of how to rip off the poor people of this country, they leave the poor penniless, they leave the hungry starving. And we as a people need to wake up to this and to say, but wait now, regardless of race, people want to accuse me of saying that I'm 1%, but I am proudly what I am. I bear no shame to my name or to what I do. The point is that under every religion, under every Godhead, on this holy day, we have to admit that truth is truth. Crookery is crookery, and we have been ripped off year after year, decade after decade. People want to say that Eric Williams was the father of the nation. Eric Williams was the greatest crook that this nation has ever had.
Well said.
And until we could own up and face up to our history with a sense of clarity and a sense of forgiveness and a sense of repatriation, a sense of wisdom and brotherliness. I don't want to crucify Eric Williams or his history or his memory, but I want to learn from the Mervyn de Souza and the John O'Halloran's and learn from it so that we could incorporate into our constitution and into our legislation so that we do not make the same pitfalls. But year after year, election after election, we get a new set of bandits that come into power and say, well, wait now, let us learn the ropes so we could learn how to steal better than our predecessor. And I'm hoping that people listen to what you are saying and that you live up to what you have said.
Gary Aboud, I want to say why you're saying that, Gary Aboud, people listening to you. You have a following, you have become an icon in this country. I want to tell you something. Trinidad needs you as an environmental minister, and you need to come on board and we have to talk. There is a wide open door. In fact, there's a space, a hole in the wall where the door used to be waiting on you, sir.
Philip, I'm a nobody. I'm just an old
Gary
man.
Aboud, we're not having the conversation here. I'm just letting you know that the country, every time you come on my show, all the people come to tell me, that's the man, bring that man on board. All the girls has come to tell me, I know what you're doing. So seriously, you have to join us. We will talk. Thanks for the call.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity, and thank you, the audience, for listening to me.
Bless
I
you,
feel very passionate, and my wife came in and quarreled with me. I'm too excited, but I find it hard to stay calm. I'm sorry. Thank you, Philip.
Have a good evening, my friend.
Bye-bye.
Trinidad and Tobago, all the people who was trying to call while Gary was calling, I couldn't cut Gary off. He's Gary Aboud, and he earned the right to talk. I would like to know how your party plans. Jeremy Dubarry is writing on the trend. He tried to call in, so I'm gonna answer Jeremy. Jeremy saying all we doing is talk. Jeremy, you on a live video tonight. I did a live video today. I went to stand up in the middle of the road with cars passing me, whoosh. My parents called to ask me if I'm a madman, and I wanted to expose a point. That video gone is about 100,000 views tonight. We working, we raising people's awareness, we opening minds, we unshackling the people. But you can't expect us to pick up big stick and big stone and run out in the road and start a break thing. It's only the poor people who lose when you riot, your partner. The solution to all of our problems is to give the PNM and the UNC the finger. This finger, are you registered to vote? Is your mother registered to vote? Your father registered to vote? Your sister and your brother? You're telling me about talk? Are you talking? There are neighbors to the left, the right, the front, and the back of you. Are you talking to the people in the maxi and the taxi that you're seeing tomorrow? Are you talking to the people in front and behind you in KFC? Because it is talk and more talk will educate, empower, and inform the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So come general election, we give those two corrupt parties the finger. It's about burning things down, set to burn things up. We need to grow as a people. We need to talk the talk until people know the talk. This ain't about burning and looting. Come now, man. That's for stupid people. I would like to know how your party plans to upkeep transparency with government spending to the nation. I want to tell Trinidad and Tobago the greatest crime Patrick Manning ever committed in the litany of crimes Patrick Manning committed was the setup of the special purpose companies that are themselves portals of looting. If we commissioned inquiries into EMBB, EFCL, Sport TT, VEMCOT, HDC, UDCOT, if we investigated and properly audited what took place in those companies, ministers and board members would go to jail. Trinidad and Tobago has been looted by its government after government. That is not a lie. We spent $80 million a year to transport prisoners who thief $50,000. Come now, man. We transport weed smoke prisoners. We transport thief your old sneakers prisoners. We transport foul thief prisoners and spend 800,000 times the cost of what they thief to transport them in Trinidad and Tobago. And if it wasn't for coronavirus, we still transporting them. It is coronavirus that made the government admit that the Progressive Empowerment Party was correct, that you can have the jails, you could have the courts online, you could have the courts by video conference, you could build the courts next door to the jail. We ain't be transporting nobody. We ain't transport nobody. We will shut down the special purpose companies. We will shut them down. We will audit them. We will recreate a tenders process that disconnect the awarder from the awardee. And that is the most crucial disconnection. Because if the person fighting for the contract has no connection to the person giving the contract, there can be no corruption. Okay? To the people who are asking, can we go back in time, from all the research that I've done with all the attorneys that have spoken to High Court judge, retired High Court judge, former DPPs, you need to prove an ongoing conspiracy. Once there's an ongoing conspiracy, the statute of limitations doesn't kick in. And if the statute of limitations didn't kick in, we could go back and find everybody from Johnny O come forward. Also, I'd like to know how you will increase funding if you will increase funding for campaign. Campaign finance reform is one of the most critical things that you could do, because campaign finance reform will level the play field, and campaign finance reform will include things like equal time from every media house. And if you print Faris Al-Rawi, you have to print Philip Alexander, and you have to print whoever else in the other party. Equal time. Once an election call. Once an election call, if CNC3 have Rowley today, I'd have Philip tomorrow, I'd have Kamala the next day. Because equal time, if you give people airtime and you don't give the others, that is an actual campaign contribution. And if we have campaign finance reform that puts a cap on what each candidate and what each party could spend, if you spend $1 more than that, disqualified candidate. So your PNM, like Stuart Young spent $100,000 to wrap a building around the Savannah and his limit was $50,000. He would have been disqualified under the Progressive Empowerment Party plan. So what's the point of spending the money? So once they know that if they run afoul of campaign finance reform, they lose the opportunity to contest, then they will stop. Our reform, our constitutional reform that we stand for, referendum. Referendum is an important piece of legislation that not even the sitting Prime Minister don't understand. The Prime Minister say he don't want no referendum to have to go back in the Parliament to debate it. Mr. Man, that's not how referendum works. A referendum is triggered by the population, and we get information and we vote on an issue, and that vote, when it comes back to you in the Parliament, it is to act action it, not to debate it. It is your bosses. When you say the voice of the people is the voice of God, that is God shouting at you in the parliament. This is what the people want. Do it. That's what a referendum is. Recall legislation is also important, because when Gypsy and this fella Seals going up for Tabakit, I find it is reprehensible for a former police inspector to represent the People's National Movement, because there is no way to know if all through his career he was PNM. You have no way to know. We need our law enforcement people to be unreproachable. And the PNM is running amok through the police service. And the Commissioner of Police, Gary Griffith, needs to take a long, hard, dim view of this. Because Dwayne O'Connor is still a practicing police officer who threw his hat in the ring to go up for C-lots and was not allowed to go up for C-lots and ended up putting out a release saying he's still, for the rest of his life, a die-hard PNM. And I have no problem with that. But you shouldn't be a police officer, because you will have to deal with people who are not PNM. We have a lot of questions. Yes, you could call her. You could call. Awesome job. Awesome job, brother. Mr. Alexander trying to call in, but the line busy. I'm messaging from Lakeland, Florida. Have a few questions and comments. 1. By what means is Trinidad and Tobago getting revenue when everything is shutting down? Under this government, I have no idea. Under the last government, I still have no idea. The both of them are two sides of the same corrosive cancer. I know what the Progressive Empowerment Party stands for, and we're going to have shows like this all of this week dealing with issues. And I want to tell you, they steal so many Progressive Empowerment Party ideas, but I'm waiting for them at election time. I want to say, Rowley, look Vision 2020. Look Vision 2030. Look every manifesto from Chambers. How come none of these ideas that you have all of a sudden since the Progressive Empowerment Party launched, how come none of them in none of these documents? Hello, good evening, you're live.
Good evening, can I speak to Philip?
You're speaking, you're live.
Hey, Philip, Victoria.
My brother, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, my brother? Listen, I really want to tell you, my brother, you keep up the good work. And there's surely people who just tell about the cursing and this and that, don't worry about it. Because you're passionate just like myself, and sometimes you gotta let it all out. So the cursing and the loud talking, I think they will study nobody with that. All of me like that sometimes, my brother. You do that damn good job and keep it up.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you for that.
Yeah, all the best, eh? Don't study that at all.
Thank you, my brother. Hello, good evening, you're live. Hello, good evening, you're live on Plain Talk.
You're the stupidest man in the world. Why do you shut up your mouth?
Hello?
Hello there. Shut up your mouth.
248-5031. What is your name, ma'am? 248-5031. Call to tell me shut up my mouth. WhatsApp, I don't know if they report the call. No, thank you. I just want you all to see, and I want all her family to hear. That's what her education did for her. If anybody is speaking against the corruption of the PNM or the UNC, the trolls and the sycophants put country aside to put party first. Hello, good evening, you're live.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening, you're live.
Hey, Philip. I just want to tell you that as a young person in Trinidad and Tobago, you have really opened my eyes to a lot of stuff, and I want to thank you for that, and I want to thank you for doing a good job that you do. I watch all your videos, and it makes sense now, right? I've been voting PNM all the time, and and it's like I've woken up from this long dream, right? This slumber that I was in. So I want to thank you for opening my eyes to a lot of things. And I don't have much, but whatever way I can help the party. Because trust me, this is the party I'm
Shoot me a quick WhatsApp, so I'll pass it on to the team, or you can reach out to Debbie Jaikaran directly. She is my executive assistant in the party for these things, and she will fast track everything for you. Yeah?
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, my friend. Thanks a lot for that. Or it takes one call like that woman to make me want to ask this question. They have a saying, birds born in a cage think flying is sickness. When she hears us talk about the fact that this country should be better, she can't deal with that. Cognitive dissonance prevents her from accepting that. She's accustomed to living in a latrine rat condition, and she can't see herself living in a proper environment. So she wants to defend. She actually has to defend a latrine rat condition. And that is what creates the conundrum for me. As Morpheus told Neo in the first episode of Matrix, the actual only Matrix that worth any watching, when he said is, the people is not your enemy, but the people are so tied to the system and dependent on it, they'll fight to defend it, and that's what makes them an enemy. And that's a conundrum. That's a conundrum. We're in a video call. We're not doing video calls really, so whoever that is, try to do it otherwise, yeah. Good day, Philip. Where's the other ministers in this government? Are they working still? No, they're drawing salaries under false pretenses. Not one of them gave up $1 for anybody during this coronavirus pandemic. You're doing a good job, bro. Would love to see you in 2020 as a Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. I'm voting Pep. Let that caller go from here. PLM and UNC sycophants just call to divert your story. No, because I want them to get through. I want people to hear what we deal with. I want them to hear the psychology of it, you know. There's a psychology. There's this Stockholm syndrome where if you put somebody in a hostage situation long enough, you don't have to hold them with rope and chain after, you know. Once they're there long enough, they will defend their hostage taker. I have somebody that's calling me on a video call. I'm saying to you again, check what you're doing. We're not doing video calls. Hi, Mr. Philip. I think in the light of opening up the minds of people, we should have a short snippet on TV or even here on your wall or YouTube to explain what a democracy is and to explain how people have the power. In my view, and if you do a study all over China and ask the simple question, what is a democracy? I'm sure most people don't know. By the way, my name is So. You see me comment from time to time, but my name is So. Appreciate the great work you are doing. Thank you for caring about this great land. I'm actually very selfish, you know. I'm actually very selfish. I just don't want to go and live anywhere else. So I want Trinidad to work. I want to grow old in this country. I want to raise my children in this country. Yeah? Trying to stay on topic of the borders. What are your suggestions to deal Cal during this time? Nothing. Mothball Cal. Mothball Cal. Take back that money, fire the board, stand them all down. Put the pilots on a half salary, and if they get a better job elsewhere, let them go. We will restart Cal in the future. No, we don't need it now. Caribbean Airlines is a financial drain on this country. This has nothing to do with sovereignty. We shut down 2 months now and surviving. And there are airlines all over the world. You call them on the plane, call them on the phone, and they start sending planes tomorrow. We do not need to be wasting money so that Colm Imbert's son could draw a salary at the end of the month. Hello, good night. Can you tell me why are my family going hungry and the government states help and grants for the people in need? I have no money to buy food or anything. My wife and son hungry right now. My wife in pain. How she ain't eat properly. That is Trinidadians. Now I want to tell you, we're gonna probably find the funds to send a hamper for this person. And if I say that, I'll get 10,000 messages like this. Because the government of the day has used this crisis to feather their own nest and give out contracts. Hi. Hello. That's it. Hi. Hello, good night. I have listened to previous callers set me thinking I am a permanent public service with knowledge in politics, human resource management, public management, and fraud detection in public sector accounting. The government, via the Service Commission and Senior Corrupt Public Service, has the public service allegedly 50% staffed. I'm seeing the result of this evil. Every year money is budgeted for a fully staffed public service. Where does the surplus go? Some is via to contract boats. We wonder why the government policy like the rent grant takes so long. One reason could be the government offices being closed or understaffed. What can you do to rejuvenate the public service? The public service is an essential service in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways it is also bloated. But I know it is set up bloated and then understaffed so that the government could pay rents to friends and financiers for buildings we don't need, like Faris Al-Rawi and Michael Nahus and the whole Nahus clan, who benefited from gorging on the public table, food dribbling all down the front of their clothes on the ground, because they're eating big. And Faris' job is to keep contracts going their way. We don't need those buildings that we're renting from the Nahus family. And I asked Michael Nahus, if you all care about Trinidad and Tobago, why don't just terminate the lease? But they get through at one Alexandra place, and they build 3 Alexandra place to double down and to show that they have nobody to protect people of Trinidad and Tobago from that kind of madness. We need a lean and effective public service, but we need a private sector blossoming so big that it sucks the workers from the public service and gives them jobs. If you had more jobs in Trinidad and Tobago than you had workers, you will see ads in the paper saying, we're looking for HR people. If you are qualified, we're giving you salary, housing, car, because people need money. Trinidadians, some of the businesses that have blown up into empires, not really involved in the drug trade, you know, but involved in the slave trade. We pay slave wages to our people. In many instances, unless you're selling Beneball and Paradise Plum, your employees can't shop where they're working. And that is sad. We need a better Trinidad and Tobago for all our people. What should drivers do from tomorrow when we don't know where the slowdown starts and ends? Just drive below 60 or 50? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you. People telling me to tell you to let everybody drive their car out in the road and park up and go home. But we making noise for noise sake never helped us before. What we need to really do is to put up with all of the suffering under this government and be ready to vote them into the dustbin of history. Hello, good evening. You're live?
Good evening, sir. How are you doing?
Trying to keep smiling, my friend.
Great. I was just wanting to find out, when PB takes office in the next election, what would be the, I don't want to say policy, but what would be the steps you guys might be taking to try and relieve TNT from the hold that China has on our economy?
Well, we're going to stick a pin in all foreign debt. We're going to stick a pin in foreign debt. We're going to send we're going to have 5 ambassadors. We're going to call the rest. We're going to have Trinidad lean and mean. You only need 5 ambassadors: Africa, Asia, United Nations, the Americas, and Europe. And our ambassadors will go to our creditors and tell them, look, we're going to rebuild this country and we need you to give us a break and some relief. And then we're going to look at rejuvenating the economy from a position of getting all our people to maximize their full potential. Some of these debts that we have, we're going to investigate to see if they're real debts or if they're not just fake debt created so that governments could get, government ministers and their friends in their white-collar friends could get kickbacks. So all of those types of things are given it in a nutshell, but that's how we would approach it.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Good night, Mr. Philip and Pep family. First of all, thank you for standing up for Trinidad and Tobago. For those who are afraid of speaking up, for those who just don't know any better, I've learned a lot from watching, listening, and reading from your daily posts and videos. I try to introduce Pep to friends and family, but boy, oh boy, some are totally brainwashed. I'm going to come back to that. Hello, good evening, you're live. Hello, good evening, you're live.
Hello, good night.
Hi, good evening, you're live.
Okay, I think I have the wrong number.
No problem at all. You actually had the right number, you know. You should have asked a question. I've learned a lot from listening. Boy, oh boy, some are totally brainwashed. Thanks to my 97-year-old grandma who's told me so many stories of the Red Crew PNM. I know I can and never will vote for them. X marks the spot when I'm voting Pep. Thank you for that. So therefore, we should accept a ticket and keep quiet? No, that's not what I am saying. I'm saying that you have a responsibility. You have... Hello, you're calling into a live show. This is the second call. I just said you're live, so you might want to reconsider what you're dialing.
Oh, okay, yeah, well, it's a show I'm calling.
Well, you're speaking to me, Philip Alexander, you're live.
Hello?
Yes, you are live on the show.
Yes, Mr. Alexander. Sorry about that.
No problem at all.
Let me ask you this, right? We are in the middle of a smoking gun between Venezuela and America, right?
Mm-hmm.
At this present point, we are like a deck of cards, okay? The government so far has not maximized the ability to protect our borders and to protect our citizens. We haven't seen any massive recruit in the Army, in the Coast Guard, neither the police service. Right? So, in the meanwhile, we are open and exposed to anything and to everything.
First of all, I want to tell you something. If they draft 1.4 million people into our army, we still can't stand up to Venezuela or America. Cockroach are no place in foul business. This have nothing to do with Trinidad and Tobago. We are supposed to be neutral and be friends with America and Venezuela. What we did... I totally agree with you. Well, that's what we should be.
I totally agree with you. But this is why that we supposed to be protecting our borders, because this whole thing is going to end up into a civil war. And so far, the government is playing Robin Hood. You haven't heard anything from the police commissioner, neither the brigadiers from the security forces. You haven't heard anything about these people. Alexander, this whole thing is going to end up in a civil war. And people do not understand the seriousness of this.
I honestly hope and pray that you are not telling a proper future. I hope and pray that we dodge this bullet.
This is not a hope and pray situation.
No, I'm saying to you, but we are not in office. So I can't go and seize control of the army and tell them what to do. We have to vote ourselves into office so we could properly run the country. Until then, we are all pawns of what's going on in the parliament.
Let me ask you this, right? So, okay, whether we like the government or we don't like the government, they are going to spend the next couple of months robbing us.
Friend,
what are the citizens about?
Next couple months, we've lost $3 trillion over the last 57 years. We are in debt to everybody, internally and externally. We broken and in debt. In the next couple months, Trinidad and Tobago need to understand. That's why I and members of the Progressive Empowerment Party work this hard. The country's on fire and we are heading for an iceberg. You want to use analogies? We are the Titanic just before it hit the iceberg.
Well, everybody is sleeping.
No, well,
everybody is sleeping.
My friend, you are not. You are awake.
Nobody. Alexander, let me tell you something, right? Let me tell you something. We are, what the old people used to do long time? Wait until you're sleeping when you behave bad and wake you up with a lash. That's what we're waiting on. Because we can't stop what is going on between Venezuela and America. Because like I say, we are a deck of cards right now between a bunch of gamblers and everybody who stays off the gun. That is where we is. But guess what? We could afford to recruit more people and try and maximize our ability to protect our borders.
I don't want to cut you because the call going on long, but I want to tell you something. This is not for us fighting militarily. Trinidad has to get involved as in diplomatic relations between the two countries and try to get everybody to stand down from war. If they decide to go to war, yes, Trinidad has to protect its borders from refugees. But
that's right. This is what I'm talking about.
Okay, well,
this is exactly what I'm talking about.
We should have been.
Go ahead.
We should have been doing that years ago because we've gotten 150,000 refugees so far at the smallest estimation. It could be a lot more. Trinidad is in trouble and we need to fix all of those things. You're not wrong when you're saying what you're saying. So the only way forward is to vote a government into office that's not there to stunt and play and use the plight of the Venezuelan people to their own enrichment.
I only hope that they don't have an office. That is what I hope.
The office, the office is symbolic though. It don't need to be a big building. Once we, the people, stand together, we're going forward from there. But I really appreciate the call though. Thanks very much.
All right, man. You have a good night.
You take care. Yeah. Don't be... The PNM put up a post. The 32 Venezuelan migrants who were intercepted last week have been returned to Venezuela. Somebody's asking me, what's the purpose of the government telling us that? Good night, Philip, who is going up for more. We are putting together our team right now, all of our candidates. We are in candidate recruitment, and if you would, anybody interested in being a part of what we're doing electorally, 682-2110, the same number as my number. Call or message me. I have hiccups. Philip, love the work you are doing. I am trying to get this person who's calling me on this video call to understand me, not in a video call. Philip, love the work you're doing. We're tired of nepotism, corruption, tired. South Trinidad has its own problem. Flood, sad water supply from Wassa. We work hard and sacrifice to get an additional $2,500 to pay rent for our children to go UE. We leave home at 4 in the morning to go Port of Spain to work and then endure 3 hours of traffic to get home. How will you help us deal with these issues? Decentralize the government offices out of Port of Spain. The UE campus that was built in South needs to be operationalized, and we need to create an avenue to digitize all business like it is being done in the world. We shouldn't have people driving for 3 hours in this country. That is insane, but that's been going on for too long. Hello, good evening, you're live. Hello, good evening, you're live. Okay. All right. Good night, sir. Would contract workers finally have a say? Hello, good evening, you're live.
Good evening, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
I just wanted to find out something. You know, with the general election coming up, I hope you know that the EBC itself have this level of corruption.
I know.
So I don't know if we could have something to put in place so that the election will be a fair election.
But our overseas people are writing, international reviewers who come and look in, plus we're working to get volunteers in every polling station. And once you count the traffic and the votes in the station, you're supposed to be able to have a free and fair election. So we're hoping that takes place, and we're hoping that with this call, you and others like you come on board to volunteer for that.
Because we don't end up like Guyana.
No, we don't.
Yeah. All right, sir. Thanks. I'll
Thank you.
continue listening to your station.
Exit polls is that. Exit polls is that this station did so much people. 1,200 people came in to the station for the day, and then when the votes are counted, it's counted there so that you know. Hello, good evening, you're live. I think we're getting pocket dials. I love your passion and unwavering focus. I want to read that. You're doing a great job. Thanks for being real and sincere. Good night, Philip. Can you tell me what the role and function of this current president of Trinidad and Tobago is, if any, and what are your thoughts on having a president when you are elected into office? I honestly believe Trinidad and Tobago has too many offices of government, too many offices of state. No one has convinced me that the President of the Republic has any roles or responsibilities that cannot be handled by the President of the Senate or the Chief Justice. And until somebody could convince me otherwise, I think that having a presidency, a prime minister, a senate, a parliament, and local government is way, way too much government. Yeah? Just trying to keep control of all the calls coming in. I know we're running late and we have a meeting tonight. People are giving me messages on all platforms. I'm only taking messages on WhatsApp, please. Thank you for that. Enjoying the live so far. Don't know how you do this almost every night. Vitamins. Hello, good evening, you're live. Hello.
Good day. This is Nicholas Douglas, a concerned citizen.
You are live on
Hello.
the show. Good evening, sir. Good evening. You have to give your name. You can just tell us where in the world you're calling from.
I'm calling from the States.
Nice. Welcome to the show.
And, okay, thank you. And I would like to find out do you have party cards and stuff?
We absolutely do. You want me to give you a number now, or would you like to send me a private message on WhatsApp so I can give you Felicia Hola or Sean Sunarine or Hadassah McLeod or Debbie Jaikaran or Lema McLeod Wilkinson, any of the team members, and they will guide you to where you need to go. You can actually go to peptt.com and you get some information there. But this number that you just called me on, if you use WhatsApp, send me a WhatsApp and I'll get all the information for you.
Okay, and secondly, I'd like to say that you're doing a very good job, but I understand that you are like David in the Bible, and And you're not going up against one giant. You're going up against two giants.
You're up against about 5.
You know?
But I hear you.
You know?
And from your lips to God's ear, God anointed David. So let's see.
You know, you need plenty spiritual prayers.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
I want to tell you something. That we have a lot of, and we could never have too much. So feel free to add us. Feel free to add us to your list.
You need to attack it from all angles. He's a brilliant fella. He's a brilliant man.
Indeed.
He's a brilliant man.
What does Bob Marley say? I and I not come to fight flesh and blood, but spiritual wickedness in high and low places. So while they fight you down, stand firm and give Jah thanks and praises. I hear you.
Yeah. So you know, I would like to wish you good best of luck. You know what I mean? And at least you're trying.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that.
And may God be with you.
Thank you for
because
that.
we really need change. You really need change in Trinidad and the wider world.
Thank you for that, my friend. Thank you for that, my friend.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a blessed night.
You too, my friend.
Yeah.
You too, man. A lot of prayers, a lot of people, all race, all creed, all religion, everybody, they're telling me we have you in our prayers and you can't have too much. The thing about prayer is a good intention, and that you can't have too much good intention. It's good energy. It's people saying, I want good for you. I want better for you. That's a good thing. Hey Philip, let me know when a meeting can take place with social distances. These people are brainwashed. We need other forms of energy sector to sustain the country. Solar energy, renewables. Yes, of course. Absolutely agree. Hey Philip, I would like to share how it feels. A born and grown Trinidadian living abroad is frustrated at the fact that my country can't have the amenities available to utilities and a general higher standard of living for everyone. Before you, I truly felt Trinidad was stuck in the two-party system, but Peppers awakened. Give them fire, Phil, and fight for the people's rights. Yes, I absolutely agree. Trinidad needs to have a much higher standard of living than it has right now. Good night, sir. With contract workers, finally have a say if you are elected to office. And the person messaged me, just a reminder on this question, sir, a caller called when you were responding. Good night, sir. Would contract workers finally have a say if you are elected into office? Okay, so let's talk about the role of contract workers. Contract workers are supposed to be stopgap workers during the development or the transition of any industry. It is never meant to be long-term unless that is what is sold to you. You're told that you are going to be a contract worker indefinitely for a specific purpose, and then you have the opportunity to accept that, but contract workers must still have rights at the end of the day. Hello, good evening, you're live.
Hello, good night, Mr. Alexander. This is the guy who messaged you from Lakeland, Florida. I've been looking at your videos and stuff for a long while now, and me and my wife think you're a true visionary.
Thank you.
And you are exactly what Trinidad and Tobago needs right now. My question is, you had mentioned a while back about online voting, and I think you mentioned something about 300,000 Trinidad and Tobagonians in the US.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I think online voting would be very good because I'm thinking, and you might be thinking the same thing, these 300,000 people would have left Trinidad and Tobago is because they left for a better life, right? And see the kind of things that you're doing right now, I think you will have a greater chance if you can get these people to vote online.
Well, we need to be in government to fix that, but I absolutely agree. The people who left Trinidad and Tobago and are abroad, a lot of overseas people contact us, they help us. We get a lot of our help from our foreign-based people, and Joan and Anthony Sinanan lead our Toronto team. Denise Zave and crew, they are in New York City. We have Rose Fong Chung and her crew in Miami. We're setting up a UK European chapter right now. We have a lot of overseas people that help us financially, and otherwise they send us $100 or $200. We do barrel sales. We're actually having a barrel sale next week. All of the stuff that comes in the barrel sales comes from our overseas people and our overseas teams. And yes, what they want is Trinidad and Tobago, that they want to live in Trinidad and Tobago with a first world government, and that's what we're trying to do. That's all we're trying to do.
Okay, good. I thought I'd mention that because this would be a very good idea for you to capitalize on these foreign nationals that are living abroad.
Absolutely agree with you.
Okay, right? But again, me and my wife think that you're a true visionary, and I think you should prepare yourself because you're going to be holding the trump card in this next election.
Well, boy, again, from your lips to God's ear, let's hope that that is the case because we need to fix this country. We can't survive another 5 years of insanity. Red or yellow, it doesn't make a difference. Somebody said to me yesterday that the yellow had less time. Yeah, they had less time, but you watch what was done in both of those governments. I mean, you cannot have that level of corruption and incompetence take place. I don't care what nobody says, unacceptable.
I think a lot of people agree. I think we've had enough of the yellow and the red. We definitely need somebody like you in this government.
Thank you very much for that, my friend. Have a good evening.
Okay, you take care. Have a good night.
Bye. Yeah. Right, so my friend with the contract worker response, I hope you're happy with what you got there. Let me just answer this call. Hello, good evening, you're live.
Hi, good evening, sir.
Hi, good evening, you're live.
I'm calling from... Yes, sir. I'm calling from San Fernando region here.
Welcome.
Nice of you to have me on the show. I was particularly happy to see that someone is actually going around the country. I saw your video with the water solution, utilizing the water and so on from the rivers to prevent this amount of drought and so on, no water in the country and so on. Those kind of videos seem to be very, very informative to the people. It actually shows what the party is doing, what it is about solutions to the problems that we face. And I want to really congratulate you on that initiative, apart from the many other initiatives which I see you working on and coming to fruition. But my main concern, my concern is I'm hearing a lot of people in our country. They are constantly calling and say, Philip, it had this grant and we didn't get our money. We had the business grant and people still suffering because we are out of COVID as far as we boasting about. But what is going to happen after COVID? This $10 billion from the Developmental Loans Act and the withdrawal from the HFS fund, which is another $10 billion. Where is that? Where does the minister don't have a responsibility to provide audited financial?
Well, by law they do. By law they do. We have an auditor general. We have a country that's supposed to be accounting to the people through all the different levels: central bank, minister of finance, finance ombudsman. We have all of these institutions. They're just non-functional, and that's what we need to fix.
Well, somebody has to be accountable. That is
well,
our
the only way we get in it to work. We listen. Gary Aboud said it, Eric Williams set up this country to fail. This is a bandit land. We need to go in and fix all of those things. We need to put systems in place that, look, right now, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, is on trial for fraud and breach of trust by just taking preferential services from the media. You have to operate like a first world country. You have to have real systems in place. And when you have laws, you need to enforce those laws. You can't just be going to the parliament and writing laws for small people and the big fish doing what they want and getting away. We need to fix all of that. But thanks for your call, though. I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate that. The fact that we have to get in. I had another one.
We are going to meet and we are going to talk. We overdue to meet and talk, and we are going to get you on board, to get all of us rowing in the same direction. Yeah?
Yes, I surely will.
Have a good night, my friend. Have a good night.
Let me make one point before I go.
Sure, of course. Absolutely.
The whole idea about getting into government. Now, as far as it goes, if you're saying that there's 59 or 30% of the people voting for the PNM, and they are ruling this country, then that is not, they are illegitimate government.
Minority government. Yes, they've always been a minority government.
So, I know there are places like Australia and so on that they make it mandatory. They say, listen, you have 900,000 people, 1 million people could vote. It is not an option. It's mandatory. where you have, I think I heard one of your lawyers speaking about it, that you must have everybody to vote. So that way.
Well, you see, I want to say this to you. Don't take this wrong, right?
Right.
I believe that I have a responsibility to make people want to come out and vote. I'm not supposed to tell them you have to vote, because I don't think that is reflective of democracy. Democracy should be the right to choose not to take part in a democracy for it to really be a democracy. So the work that we do is to get people saying, you know what, I'm going to come out and vote for this party because I feel they're going to try and do something different. Nobody, I went to a Christmas party at the Commissioner of Police office, and he said, a man told me, he said, a guy that used to bad talk you to me regularly told me the last time he saw me, nobody in politics in Trinidad and Tobago works harder than Philip Alexander. And I want to tell you something, I'm going to give that man my vote. This is a man who was bad talking me regularly. The fellow who was talking to me, long time friend of mine. He had no reason to lie to me. And I'm saying to you, that is about getting people to wake up, because a lot of people that react negatively to change, it's not that they don't like you or trust you, it's they don't trust change itself. And we need to get them to see that change can be a good thing.
Yes. I just hope we have enough time to do something like that.
Well,
because
we've been working hard. I mean, look, some parties formed last month. If parties formed last month and thinking they're going to have a chance, we are this 3.5 years now. You know?
I surely hope it happens, because many people have to be not forced. It's not forced. If you look at the Australian model, everyone has to vote. So at the end of the voting, people cannot say you didn't vote, and it's only 30% of the people.
But I mean, listen, we have Ved Siraram and Timothy Hamilton-Smith and others on board who talk about all the different ways that you could fix our system. If you look back on the show with Ved or with Timothy, you hear all the options and all the choices. But again, when I spoke to Vishnu the other day, the political scientist, the head of the UE political science, he said, and we agree, that you can't fix it unless you get into government. That's the conundrum. We have to get into government. So the whole job right now is to wake Trinidad and Tobago up. And at the end of the day, we live in the country that we choose. Because we can never say we didn't have choice.
But your awareness program is surely working. And I love the fact that you have platforms that cater for everyone. I would like to see some more input from the young people in particular, because you have a great amount of people who will be 18 years who will be eligible to vote. I have been the only politician that has become a social media sensation twice in 1 year for the young people. So they have embraced us a lot. Right now, we are riding the wave of a TikTok sensation. I'm not even sure what TikTok is, but I know that we are the biggest thing on TikTok. We were the biggest thing on Instagram, and it's the young people that drive that. And you can't, young people, and I remember when I was young, you can't force me to choose, and you can't force me to vote, but if you give me something to be interested in, you will get me with a passion that you can't stop. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give them their voice and let them come and do what they need to do with it. That's a very good approach, because the 350,000 people from the UNC and the 250,000 from the PNM will not. I don't think you could move those people anyway, maybe 10,000 or 20,000 either way. So you have to target the groups that are not voting and the people who are.
I was in a meeting yesterday, and the person said to me, when the NAR won 33-3, the PNM still got 198,000 votes. And that's a lot of votes. For a country that was so against the PNM, they were still able to bring out 198,000. What you're saying there is not a lie. That there are some people so brainwashed, so tight about this house and the idea of RNZ. We're not moving them, but we have no interest in them. 50% of the population traditionally do not vote. It is to them we turn in right now, and we believe. We believe that between them, you know who were the first adopters of the Progressive Empowerment Party? the elders in society, and I never tire of saying that. There was a whole clan we used to call Phillips Golden Girls, and they used to take care of this party. We would have meetings. This party started off with nothing but the clothes on our back and the money in our pocket, and we would start have meetings, and people would pull up and say, Miss So-and-so or Mr. So-and-so send these 10 cases of water for you out of the blue. Cake and sandwiches. I mean, they used to take care of us like it was their children. And I want to say that when the elders adopt you, it means, I mean, these people have seen it all. They've seen it all. So if they think that you are doing something right, trust me, you're doing something right.
Well, I know we have 85,000 pensioners, and I think a lot of them would be inclined to what you're talking about here.
Indeed.
Because they want a better Trinidad and Tobago.
Indeed.
The young people as well.
Anyway, your call and my call going on like an interview because it's going on long, but you and I are going to meet and chat.
Yes.
Thanks a lot for reaching out. I appreciate the call, though.
Surely calling. Yes.
Take care, my friend. Bye-bye. Yeah, that was Keith Rowley. No, he sounded like Keith Rowley. Imagine Keith Rowley call and endorse Pep, leave the PNM and join Pep. Everybody want to be on something good. God. I do not think we can answer all the questions. Yeah, I don't think. It is 9:31, and I am sorry that we can't answer all these questions tonight, and we can't take all the calls right now. Believe it or not, we have a PEP meeting tonight and a Zoom meeting that I have to go to that is probably going on right now in the casino. Trinidad and Tobago, it is with only love for this country we do this. Nobody putting themselves at this risk to loss and character assassination. I mean, they defame us on a daily basis. And if I say 2 wrong words stacked together, taking me to court, but their agents defaming me on a daily basis. But look at what's happening. Every time somebody step out their crease to attack me and attack the party, it sends people looking for me and looking for the party. And when they find me and they find the party, they say, but that person crack. This is a real political movement. The Progressive Empowerment Party has been the fastest growing party in this country's history, and it continues to be so. Not because of anything else, but what we like to call political sexiness. And it brings everybody together. And it makes everybody feel like the moment they sign on to it, this is what I always was looking for. People are saying, but the man saying what I saying, that's what they tell me all the time. Your mouth open and I hear my words. And they say that you, and what they didn't realize is all of us think a certain way and we want certain things and we never got it and we never had the opportunity to speak as one voice before, and they have it now and they're not letting go. The Progressive Empowerment Party belongs to them. I see people attack me on threads and get the defense. The people that come to defend me, I don't know them. We don't train them. They're not paid by PEP. They are just people who own the Progressive Empowerment Party, not tolerating stupidness from sycophants and trolls. The better country that we always knew we always needed is and always deserved, what David Rudder called paradise on earth convincingly, this country was born to be. And we could have it, all of us together. It's a small handful of people that have abused the public trust and betrayed their oath of office and taken advantage of the people. We could fix that. We could fix everything. And the reason we do plain talk is so that you hear, not just me, but brilliant people with decades of experience come and tell you, the thing could fix. It always could fix. We need to do it. A better Trinidad and Tobago, we deserve a better Trinidad and Tobago. So, maybe we continue this. Maybe we have some guests this week, but maybe we don't run down guests. Maybe we do interactive shows this whole week. Maybe we do issue shows and policy shows this whole week and let the people call in. Maybe we do water. Maybe we spend a whole show talking about water so that when people leave, they understand that this, and maybe we get Gary Abu to come and talk about that. Yeah, we're supposed to have Vernon DeLeba and Wayne Sturge together on a show to deal with the criminal justice system, and that's going to be must-see TV, and that's happening this week too. So, I want to thank everybody who called in, everybody who sent us messages. I want to apologize to the people whose calls I couldn't take or whose messages I couldn't read, but I will answer you on WhatsApp. I want to thank everybody who took the time to view the show. I want to thank everybody who's going to see the show and share the show with all their friends and relatives and recommend us. And I want to thank all of the members of the Progressive Empowerment Party who have worked so hard to turn what was a lone voice in the wilderness into a real and powerful political movement. There are people in this party that don't stop working at it. And I want to tell you something. There's a saying that a few people is all that stands between us and the darkness. And I know some of them by name. Until tomorrow, stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.